And just that, so in case I yell, he gets hurt. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Oh, jeez. He's half naked. No, I was out today getting sun. It's 1 a.m. Eastern. Where is their sun? It's 9 a.m. in Moscow. It's 3 p.m. in Tokyo, and it's 10 p.m. in the Hollywood Hills of California. Hola, JR. So let's have a coconut smoke and let's go through the headlines for the last day of March, 3/31, 2022. On the East Coast, of course, it's already 1 a.m., so it's April Fool's Day. Sorry, due to COVID, glitter bombs are legal again. Just saying. So if you are in the Rocky Mountains and a glitter bomb happens to go off in a radio station somewhere today, what? 1 year before, not a year before, 1 year, years ago, I filled all the drawers in the offices with packing peanuts. 1 year, I short sheeted a desk. Um, these aren't funny headlines. They really aren't. Excuse me. And I'm wondering if I go back in time or just starting in the 4 a.m. and going ahead. As I tried to explain, come April 1st, it's not an April 1st, it's a Take Out the Trash News Friday. In that the economic indicators are in. There is no getting around this. So, first of all, thank you all for being a part of the number one podcast on the internet that nobody knows about and even fewer people watch. I am Scooter McGee. Find me on the World Wide Web, scootermcgee.com. And they're reinserting my LinkedIn and my Facebook and my Twitter and my YouTube. But you're already here on YouTube. So if you enjoy this project and endeavor, please like it. Please subscribe. Please share it. Please help get the word out. These headlines they keep regurgitating just aren't funny anymore. Especially now since you can see back in time. When did I start this project and what headlines of what nights? And wait a minute, tomorrow, and all of the Putin oil money may be actually be able to go to. And I told you that 3 weeks ago when Vladimir Putin announced that if you are an unfriendly nation, you can continue to buy oil, but you're going to have to go through this process and you're going to have to buy the rubles. And everybody thought that won't happen because it's shut down. And I'm one of the only people who reminded you of Mir, as everybody was worried about SWIFT. So as they continue to claim Mirapol is about to die and the world's going to end, and how many hours left, and Kiev, still under siege, under threat from airstrikes, the military intelligence sources that came out yesterday in a perfect cycle for Take Out the Trash News so the Sunday morning talk shows can yap about this. Vladimir Putin remains largely isolated inside the Kremlin, and Vladimir Putin's generals are afraid to talk to him. President Biden has doubled down on that with the media putting that out in the last 48 hours. President Biden now on a microphone says, it appears if Putin is self-isolating. Takes one to know one. Nah, 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 nah. In the same speech, if we want to call it a speech, um, regarding the release of 180 million barrels of oil for the next 180 days and the strategic oil supply. Do you realize how much of it we've now pissed away? And that stuff's actually supposed to be for an emergency, and how much we would need in a time of emergency because all hell just broke loose. The system is down. We need certain things to continue to remain running. Approximately 3.5 weeks ago, I told you, hey, watch the Chernobyl story. Here it is. Russian troops appear, 2 columns appeared to be evacuating the Chernobyl. They weren't evacuating, They were retreating. They weren't retreating. They were leaving. Their damage there may be done now. Let's wait another 2 weeks to 3 weeks to see about that. But in this oil meeting, not the oil meeting, the press conference where President Biden is talking about the release of the strategic oil reserves and 180 million barrels of oil in the next 180 days, he continues to blame Putin's price hikes. The numbers don't lie. The average American, the average person, it doesn't matter how much money you're making an hour, unless you bought Bitcoin at the ground level and don't care. And this number they're touting around of it's going to cost the average American $5,200 more this year than it did last year. That's based on the economic numbers of the last rating period. And that's also presuming that no other product goes up in price and that actually some products got to come down, or it's going to be more than 5,200 by the end of the year. What? Oh, one of the sponsors of the Scooter McGee show found out I was doing this. I don't drink, but what is this? It's Ukrainian vodka. Go find them on social media. Greeley Westside Liquor, 30th and 10th Street in Greeley. It's after 11. You can't get it delivered by midnight, but you can 7 days a week. Find out about that there. What? Okay, thank you, Coca-Cola. The chatter that Vladimir Putin is isolated, the chatter that the generals are afraid to talk to him. This doomsday scenario they keep talking about has got to stop. Oh, and Republican women out there, women of the world unite, because Republican Susan Collins has agreed to vote yes for Ketanji Brown Jackson. Next, good. Okay. The Hubble Space Telescope. This is good. The flat earthers explain this to me. I really do want to get on board with your idea of the flat earth, because the camera and the ship going out, I said ship, Damon, glitter bombs, be aware. You know, in that Beamer you drive, if that thing goes off in the car and the air conditioning is running, he's still pissed because he's still digging it out of the board in the old studio, disguised as free pizza. I like the idea of the Krispy Kreme box. I got the idea. I'm telling everybody where it is. That's only the first. That's the bomb that goes off that everybody comes into to rush to. Yeah, and then there's a bigger bomb. Glitter bombs. Okay, they're non-explosive devices. They're just beyond irritating for over a decade. The Hubble Space Telescope has now spotted the most distant star to date. Okay. The expanding universe, the Big Bang. It all comes, and then it comes back out. And it implodes, and then it backs up back out. All right? Somebody want to do the calculations on those numbers? I'm just saying. Rather interesting. They bring the Hubble brings us this. U.S. What did we say that they were called? Again, I call them U.S. Space Command, and I know that's wrong. They are, I know, the Guardians. It's easy to make fun of them when you don't know the department they work for. I know, COVID, spring break, everybody be frightened. Where the hell are they? Well, out of Cheyenne Mountain, of course, yes, but they have a name, and they like to be called that. The U.S. Space Force and the Guardians. So we're worried about a possible doomsday scenario, and how quickly can we put the mobile command centers out into the field when the doomsday plane flies overhead? Just came back from its European babysitting trip with the Dork Brigade during the emergency NATO crisis summit that took, 8-9 days to schedule and prepare for, while the world was seeing Zelensky on Zoom. Congress did, Germany did. Still suggestions that a meeting between Vladimir Putin, excuse me, and Vladimir Zelensky may in fact take place. Zelensky and Putin, they may now have a meeting. Before it was, we're never going to have a meeting. I know. Kyiv is under siege. We know that. Thank you. Chris Rock, as we reported last night, went back on stage in Boston. And I'm just going to say this. I try not to judge. An upstanding member of the Christian business community who got a little out of line and had to be arrested. I ain't touching that. Chris Rock had to apologize to Wanda Sykes because it was supposed to be your night. And Wanda Sykes is still kind of traumatized. So is Amy Schumer. They're traumatized. As the workplace is trying to get back to work and, back to the new normal, how do you go back to a new? There's no such thing, Lester Holt. Corporations are drug testing. Well, there's legal marijuana now, and so shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Drug tests are up. I'm sorry, positive drug tests, not negative. Positive drug tests up 20%. And THC is not in the guide in the. Yeah, so marijuana is legal. Yeah, we didn't take those numbers and put them in there. I'm getting there. His dyslexia is coming out on the camera. Yep. The United Nations now reporting 4.5 million refugees. 3/31/2022, 4:51 a.m. The California Reparations Task Force, after a 2-year study and investigation regarding who should get reparations in California, what origin and or color and or generation you can be to get some money. I have reached out to Senator Elizabeth Warren, but I have not gotten comment back. If I do, I'll post it in the comments. The senior intelligence sources who refuse to go on record that this story is now running 72 hours, which makes it dangerous, is that Vladimir Putin is uninformed. His generals are just too afraid to tell him of what's going on. And the same senior intelligence, yes, breaking news, say that Vladimir Putin feels misled. See, and then I hear the song Misled, and then I see Karen dancing on the dance floor, and that kind of ruins my night. Senior intelligence officials, senior intelligence sources. He's also isolated. He's isolated, uninformed, and he feels misled. Well, if he won't go out, we're just sliding meals under his door. Day 3 of tornadic activity, now hitting the southeast. ABC News this morning of where the storm heads next. Out to sea? Or is it going to do a 180? Is it going to flip a bitch and head back to LA? Where is the storm head next? Out to sea? I don't know. Yeah, I got time for this. In the 1960s, Well, in the 40s and 50s and 60s, we should get the weather. Yep. We got a weather report. Somebody should read it. Gary Owens with, okay. And they read the weather. All right, now let's put them in. Okay, now here comes TV. All right. I've got to get the map. Yep. And we'll get the symbols to show the people where the pressure is moving in the front. And we'll put up graphics. Oh, thank God for computers. Now we can put graphics and we can move stuff. And we've got satellite. Can we put back the old satellites on TV at night that would show when they'd be allegedly chemtrailing? No. All right. I was asking. Um, in the 60s, it's the psychedelic era, man. The kids are out there at Berkeley. And I can see it. They've skipped third hour. They're hanging out behind the hedge of the quad, maybe smoking a little more than, a cigarette and a Coca-Cola. Fuck, man. I'm sorry, I'm in character now. I'm allowed to swear and smoke on stage. Like President Biden was on stage when he got his shot. Why do we have a sound stage set up for this kind of nonsense? Isn't that what we have the White House for, and a White House press photographer in a White House press room? I'm just asking. Man. Okay, man. My old man is riding me. 3 years here if I don't declare a major. Vietnam, man. I don't want to go to the war. Man, this is good. Check out that cloud. The weather. So the point is these 2 or 3 are, hey, if they're smoking on campus and it's third hour, by the time this joke gets funny, see, it's dark. And they're still sitting there smoking because they can't figure out what they're going to tell their parents what they've been doing in college the whole time other than smoking dope. There's a routine in here somewhere. So now it's dark. And I'm telling you, my old man's just going to keep. What was that, dude? She said, whoa, that was cool. I thought I was flashing back, man. Did you see that streak? Yep. What was that, man? It was a meteor. Meteor, man. The joke is the punchline's going to get here at some point. Since they've been out there this whole time and the sun was up and then the sun went down, well, here it comes again. The sun's coming up. We're going to have to change the bog water. At that point, you at least have to change the bong water, right? So, sun's back up. The clouds, man. We're still sitting here. Yeah, well, I don't want to go to school either. I had to get kicked out of all of them because they were military schools. College, you just pay your bill and you can sit out in the quad and look cool. Dad's going to kill me, man. What am I going to do? Remember that meteor we saw last night? What would be cool, man? I want to be on TV. Like the movie guy and the review guy. And you mean the weatherman? Yeah, weathermen are geeks. And somewhere to build the punchline, because I'm not going to give it, where you've gone from the clouds to meteor, weatherman to meteorology, which is just a better version of prestidigitation and smoke and mirrors. And when we talk about the Russians, I still talk on this show, this product, about the Soviets and the Soviet mentality. And this, he's isolated. Okay, we're going to get back to that because just hold the thought. Meteorology, man. See, they've created a job that isn't required. You add a whole bunch of levels atop of it until you're balancing on top of a house made of cards. So when it comes to the propaganda and the nonsense, and whose senior intelligence sources inside the White House are claiming, you know what? Have them go pee in the wind and have them claim that they shot distant at 8 feet and hit a styrofoam cup. Is Hunter Biden the ghost of Spiro T. Agnew. I was going to go with a GordonLevitt joke, but I got painted into a corner with a styrofoam cup instead of a plastic cup because I never saw Liddy shove his hand into a styrofoam cup. I saw him shove his hand into a plastic cup, and he said the trick was not to care. I miss Gordo. It's just when they keep talking, the conservatives want to make this Hunter Biden thing a Watergate thing is just a tax thing, and he paid it. I don't know what the problem is there. Meteorology, man. How do we sell our parents on paying for a fake degree okay? And a lot of go to meteorology and are good meteorologists, and don't get mad at me. And you don't have to hack my website and go after me for chemtrails. I'm just saying, I'm a crisis communications expert. What the do you do? I'm a senior editor in the basket weaving department over at the. Yeah. The war isn't turning off this year. The Democrats are worried about the midterms, and this is where it gets ugly now. You have to go back. Okay, meteorology, yep. The propaganda and the lies, yep. Because Vladimir Putin is isolated and he feels alone. He needs a hug. Remember that one a month ago? If the Hollywood people were just, if I could go back in time, I'd give him a hug. On my planet, if we had a time machine, there are other people significant in history we might want to go back to, and giving them a hug is not one of the top things on our bucket list to do. So we give them a hug. He feels misled. God, I miss Taryn. Claims that the generals are generals. The generals of the Soviet army are afraid. Hey, it's your lie. You tell it. And I love how you tell it so well. All 8 different sources and channel, the intelligence sources, gave it to all of you in a matter of 45 minutes because within the hour you were all running the same garbage. Makes me very leery of it, especially since we're almost 40 days into this Bugatti, and none of these asshats on national television, local television, and cable television are discussing the Soviet mentality. I'm not patting myself on the back. I may be one of the few people who actually understand it. I come from a very, very different time. I was educated and indoctrinated with propaganda that was designed to serve the military-industrial complex. So if you want to talk 1978 to 1984 or 79 to 85, that's the height of the Cold War. And so little minds in the military it was a different time. Can I get a flight suit that would let you hold? I'm sorry, I opened my mouth. So the claims of isolation, the propaganda, space, the enemies. The enemies are communism, the enemies are terrorism, and then the final enemy is the space. But it's always presumed that it will be the alien card. There are 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 chapters to get to that point. But now, open admission. It's funny because on the Scooter McGee show a decade ago, callers would call in and yell at me. You don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? We have nuclear powers that have violated every space treaty we've signed. And we had to sign them because it was the fears of weaponization of space. The Chinese with these satellites with gripping arms that come grab you. And, the Chinese with the Chinese. It's the Chinese. It's always the Chinese. Well, in this case, it's not Putin's fault. But, oh, damn it. And they got a name. I haven't spent any time. Yes, the nesting satellites. that are all armed with offensive weapons. And they say that like pass the salt, I love you very much, and I will not put phosphorus into a weapon. I was going to use the other punchline, but I've already said this show isn't for kids. So, besides, if this doesn't work out, maybe I can. No, I'm not even going to make that joke either. Please support this endeavor. I would beg you to sponsor the show for $5 a month on my Patreon page. Anything more than that will impress the socks off me. Because at this rate, if I can't make any money and I have to become homeless, then I'm going to drink that before I leave. Yeah, tie this up with the weatherman. So the lies of the propaganda. You know, in the Soviet mentality, do you understand controlling the weather and controlling space were synonymous? And a mass cover up was used as, you know, the space program. I know. And the meteorologists who were in on it because they'd see the satellite photos with the strips of the chemtrails on those old, I want to say those were NOAA satellites, the black and white ones, where they put the white lines to show the states, but you'd see the clouds. There'd be clouds. Whoa, what was that? Oh, yeah. Now we have Doppler. And even Doppler back then, there were people, you know, that what that does to people. And it's fine, you conspiracy theorists. You're the nutcases, too, who think living under a power line is bad, don't you? Sorry your father died for being a member of the highway patrol from testicular cancer because he left the radar gun in his crotch when he wasn't generating revenue for his department. But that's a conspiracy theory too. I don't. What about the water? The fluoride is for your good. It's for your health. If you don't like it, don't drink it. Bird flu, millions a day. They just killed another 1.5 million birds in Iowa. I don't see that running in the scroll. Did somebody miss that? No, there it is. There's that. So we've now killed in the last 2 weeks. We're not killing 1 million birds a day. It's been escalating. It was 100,000 and 250,000. So, okay. And Sunday, Monday, because we're Thursday into Friday now, there was another 375,000 birds. But the latest one now out of Iowa in the report. Yep, we had to kill 1.5 million birds. We're sorry. We didn't mean to. It's just an abundance of caution. I know supply chain and the crisis and the economics and the impact, and we had to. We just want to keep everybody safe. We don't want anybody to die, do we? You're all gonna die. The propaganda, the military-industrial complex. Now there's chimes of the media industrial complex, and I really wish I could say that with a straight face. You lying mother, you pieces of garbage, you pieces of snot. Go get your awards. I use mine to keep the tripod from not, because I lost one of the rubber bottoms. Pieces of pure and garbage. You know what chemtrails are? But we're just not allowed to say, somebody else is going to have to do. It's just not my job. I was just following orders. How much longer do you think this Bugatti can remain? And that's with the House of Cards. The propaganda, senior military officials and senior sources. Are these the same ones who said that they weren't going to invade at the Olympics? And then when the Olympics ended and I started this project and said, here they go, they're going to do it. No, it's not an invasion. These are military exercises. And this is in Belarus. This isn't Ukraine. That's fake news. What are you doing? Oh, have you looked? I had sources on the ground. Scooter, yes. Thank God we knew you were up. Well, yeah, what time is it there? It's 8:30 in the morning here. What is that noise? Dude, that's automatic gunfire. That's what I thought. Where are you? We are about 18 miles outside of, and we are hauling ass on foot. What happened? We don't know what we hit. This was the use of certain weaponry that we are not allowed to talk about in the world of how do you shut the cars off? They were at full throttle in the car, hauling ass, and they blew right through a checkpoint. There were no spike strips, none of that. And it was, they said within that 10th, by the quarter mile, the car couldn't steer. There were the car was disengaged. And what'd you do? We had to wait for the car to slow as pushing and then they got it to stop with the emergency brake, and then they just continued to haul ass on foot. And what was expected to be about a 2.5 hour drive turned into almost 3 days on foot to get to the border, stay safe, because now the military exercises, the maneuvers, the maneuvers in Belarus were causing a little problem. Yeah, about 100,000 refugees suddenly popped out of the middle of nowhere. And remember 10 days in when I brought up, how are all these Ukrainian refugees getting to the US-Mexico border before 2 weeks have gone by? Well, now the media gets to cover the crisis. Will President Biden get rid of Title 42? And what about all the other people who are seeking asylum? We're going to need immigration reform. And thank God FEMA is asking for money, not for detention camps or any of that nonsense. No, over the last three years, excuse me, over the last 3 years, FEMA has run out of money and has been unable to, help the towns, 33 towns in the last 3 years, to rebuild. Every day they wake up and they're unable to heal. FEMA, of course, saying we need more money after they allegedly spent $2 billion on COVID funerals. So this is all for your own good. By the way, Fauci's back out talking his points, and the mask later this fall. And well, by then we're gonna, the booster is just gonna be like a flu shot. Yeah, but it was gonna be mandatory. Oh, see, you're an anti-vaxxer. No, I'm anti-mandates. You can make a law because we can challenge it. Mandates. They love their mandates. They love their words. Start using their words. Start checking what they're saying. Don't believe what I'm telling you, but stop clicking a headline and liking and sharing it. It takes 3 minutes to read it. I posted it, and you liked and shared it 8 seconds later. You are a tard. You are beyond retarded. You are a tard. Just want to be cool and popular and like and share? Get your dopamine hit? Is that what you need? Wow. Amy Schumer is still traumatized. The Los Angeles police did reach out to the Academy of Arts and Sciences. Hey, do you want us to arrest Will Smith? They said no. Hey, where were all those press releases in the 18 minutes after this? In the, what was it, 45 minutes before he got the award for Best Actor? Oh, you think it's fake? You're one of those QAnon people. Let him continue to name call. Let him continue to demonize. But let's continue to try and do this 7 nights a week. We are now 5 weeks done, starting a 6th week into this project. Please like it. Please support it. Please share it. Please critique it. Give me ideas. Or give me the thumbs down. And if I get enough of them, I'll pull the plug myself. But until the crisis in Ukraine, you mean World War III? No, if we do all of this, World War III won't happen. The sanctions didn't work. We told you that. They are still insisting on a no-fly zone. Headline, Kyiv is under threat from airstrikes. How do we stop the threat of the airstrikes? We need a no-fly zone. No-fly zones don't work. We have the Ukrainian peace talks. You mean the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine? Yes. Will America defend the negotiators? Because if they die, then you have to defend and declare war. They all want war because war is profitable. And it is an incredible way to strip more of your rights because What's the cost of a few rights so that the world can have freedom? Ukraine is a budding democracy. Democracies around the world must be united and come together and fight. The propaganda is getting pretty thick, and you got to realize when it's being spread like that. Be well, be safe, Coffin. Thank you for participating in a beta test experiment of the #1 podcast that nobody knows about and even fewer people watch. Good night, everybody.